All right, here we are recording live, or I guess streaming live on August 31st, Friday night of Labor Day weekend. Welcome all. We're going to talk about no hearings. Can you believe that? No FISA court hearings were even conducted, which means Spygate treason has been confirmed. We also have an SB2 decode, all kinds of Q news, tons of things to clarify from last night. And this is going to be this could be two hours worth of stuff, but we're going to knock it out quick. Okay, only one person's joined, so you're probably listening to the recording. If you're ever want to hear me live, you do have to make sure YouTube's turning it off all the time. That the little bell to the right, when you subscribe, you're not going to get notifications. You have to subscribe and hit the little bell to the right to see it's highlighted, and then you're going to have to check that almost every other day or so to make sure it's still highlighted. Okay, then notifications need to come to your screen, obviously. Love to see you live sometime. We got a bunch of people on, Rachel and Garrett and Donnie, Wisconsin. We've got Texas. So we've got Oklahoma. Thank you guys all of New Zealand. David from New Zealand, thank you for joining here on a Friday night, our time. So it's probably Saturday morning your time, right? So we've got 76 people on. We're going to roll. No hearings. No FISA court hearings is revealed. This is big, 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 as Q will say here as we start looking at all the posts. Tons of posts to dig through, tons of clarifications from last time. Spygate treason is confirmed. We got an SB2 decode talking about the McCain death and tons of stuff to get to. So let's jump into it here on August 31st. Here we go. This is Cueanon 2025 we went over last time. A couple of things I wanted to mention based upon the rally that was last night, right? The Trump rally. This says here 2025, the whole world is watching. He used that term in the speech, right? He also, so that, and that really, if you go do some searching on the whole world is watching, you'll find that. In fact, if I just come up here and you can search like put to death, as I was actually looking there. We'll talk about that in a second, but the whole world is watching. You can just actually type up here. Again, this is Cueanon.app or Cueanon.map, and it says the whole world, and the whole world is watching here. It's only shown at one time right here, but you can go search other things like everybody's watching or whatever, and you'll be able to see that that's a term that's used quite a bit. I call it a Cueanism, I think is what some people are calling it, but watching. There's 26 watchings here, and then you go Control F again and type in watching again. And again, I want you guys to learn how to use this tool because it's really easy to use. And those that are watching, it's talking about keep watching for the news this week. Bad people watching. So that's what we're talking about. The whole world is. Have you been, and all these aren't going to be exactly the thing I'm looking for, but you can see they are watching. So it's talking about the CIA watching, the deep state's watching. It's really clear that whole world is watching. Keep watching the news. And Q actually, I mean, Trump said the whole world is watching in his last deal as an example. The whole world is watching here on 1258, right? Back all the way in the world is watching. So Q, again, when Trump is in his rallies, he's giving us little deals. I even saw him turn over and it looked like he did a little sign that's that half Q kind of thing that he does. And then and so several things. And then he also said fight, fight, fight. And so that is a Cueanism as well, right? So if I come back here and I go just the word fight, and it might be hard to find the fights that he talks about, but you know how searching goes. But FIGHT, and so there's 89 matches here, but you can see fight the good fight he talks about a lot, and then and he'll say the fight thing here quite a bit. As you kind of search through this type of stuff. So these are the type of things you can do. Here it is. The first one I see, fight, is here on January 6th, right? So Trump said that in his speech. So again, these are just Q confirms, one of several hundred, I guess proofs we have that Q is who he says he is, right? So that was in 2025. 2026 was the first one today. Came out around 9:56 a.m. Eastern time, and it says Utah. What are the odds for that? And this is fascinating because they just shut down. We learned yesterday. We'll dig into that in a little bit. They shut down the satellite communications of both the MI6 as well as the CIA. and the eavesdropping center in UK, and now they've got this huge center coming up here. If you read this, it says the Utah Data Center, codenamed, what is it, Bumblehive, is the Intelligent Community Comprehensive National Security Initiative. And if you look at this, thing's huge. It's like 34 buildings. Welcome to the Utah Data Center. If you have nothing to hide, you have nothing to fear. So it's basically going to be doing surveillance, and that's actually legal, and it's probably going to be unless you're doing something, if you have something to hide, then you might be caught, right? In recent months, numerous top secret documents have been leaked to the media relating to the surveillance activities carried out by our intelligence community. In an effort to increase transparency, a new website called IC Off the Record was created to provide the American people immediate, ongoing, direct access to these leaks. But this building is humongous, $1.5 billion, 1 million square foot. The Bluffdale campus, 100,000 square feet, mission critical tier 2, 3 data center. And anyway, this is a huge place that they have here at the Utah Data Center. That's where Huber is. That's why I think he's talking about coincidence. So they knock out all the satellites and all the supercomputers, Snow Whites of CIA, and then boom, he shows us we're still safe, but we're safe because we're doing it the correct way. We're replacing the CIA. I think that's what this post is telling us. This is awesome stuff, piece by piece by piece. Hey, another thing that I realized is if you go look at the 4 Snow Whites that they shut down, there's an earlier post I was seeing on who's that? Gosh darn it! The guy that has 140,000 followers. My mind is escaping me. Destroying the Illusion. I quickly saw his part of his video at lunch, and he actually did a great job finding that other post. So let's go try to find that real quick. I'll see if I can find that with you guys. Teaching you how to do this. Go to the upper left, and again, we're looking at Snow Whites, right? And so Snow, SNOW, not H. It's about 5 seconds behind my 5 seconds behind my keystroke. So, oh my goodness, come on. So it's about 5 seconds behind when I'm streaming. So makes this look okay. SNOW. Make sure I get it right. White. Right. And so now there's 28 posts. Again, go Control F and go Snow White again. And then you can go back to the 32 matches. It shows you how many times they talk about Snow White, and everybody's saying, what is that? And then we found out it was the 7 supercomputers of the CIA, right? We found that out later. And you'll see that number 1, 2, and 5 were shut down, I think back in January or April. We'll find it here in a second, I'm pretty sure. So 1, 2, and 5 were already shut down of the Snow Whites. So we'll see where I am now. We're on, hope I'm not circling through these. Snow White Pounce. Snow White utilizes activated to silence. So there it is. So this is post right after December 15th. It's January 21st. Snow White 1, 2, and 5 offline. 7th floor is no more. So Q told us that I had missed this. So now in yesterday's post, we saw 3, 4, 6, and 7 go down. So now they're completely blind, all satellites blind. And what's really shocking about that, there was an article, and I'm not sure the sources of this guy, but this guy named John Sullivan, in this article, I'll put the link in here, it's from Principal Scientific. He says, U.S. military suddenly blocks all spy satellite access. And so, breaking news, urgent, 7 CIA mainframe computers down. That is the actual Snow Whites. Spy satellites offline. And it says greenhouse gas theory debunked. Uh-oh, this is the wrong article. I'll have to make sure I get to the right article here. What? Pretty weird. Maybe I have to click on this article. By John Sullivan. This is the article I want, so it actually brought me to another article. There it is. So again, you can search on this too. Breaking U.S. military suddenly blocks, and you'll get it in your browser. Use DuckDuckGo, not Google though, right? So here we are, looking through here. Vital U.S. spy satellite rendered blind, no access by other nations. Pentagon, look at this. The Pentagon declined to comment. Respected former CIA analysts predicted the action connected to Donald Trump, and conspiracy theorists say QAnon behind it. Today, sources from the intelligence community are confirming critical CIA mainframe computer systems are offline, rendering 7 spy satellites in the dark. Tech staff are working furiously to find what happened to fix it. In Britain, MI5, MI6, and GCHQ are in panic mode. As speculation grows, this is President Donald Trump's retaliation for the discrediting of the Steele dossier. So they're mad about us discrediting the fake dossier, right? QAnon users QMAP and the alleged U.S. government website have been posting frantically overnight, claiming this was planned attack and the victory against the deep state. They pointed to the Q drops, breadcrumbs of alleged intel from the Q app, another U.S. military intelligence website, to prove the coordinated precision military operation. And there's a screenshot we reviewed with you yesterday. And these reports, if these reports are correct, the ramifications are that not just the CIA, but all U.S. foreign allies are rendered blind to vital intelligence information until a fix is found. Until then, there is an almost complete blackout of most black ops signals intelligence, SIGINT, and satellite communication SATCOM satellites. Therefore, the CIA is now unable to perform certain keyhole surveillance with gaping holes in their ability to intercept various signals. Certain phones, certain radios, certain internet comms, etc. Guys, this is big. This is big. If QAnon folks are correct, this means a self-serving elite who previously thought they ran the world, intelligence community with the CIA and NSA, are now deaf, dumb, and partially blind. They may possess modest, localized, on-the-ground SIGINT capacity. Independent sources are linking the key story from last year's This Is How the Five Eyes Dies, which forewarned of such a deliberate attack. Q posted a cryptic comment last night that suggests Britain's spy hub, GCHQ, was thrown into panic. It says GCHQ, this is booed, sent distress signal, 8:09 Eastern Time, NSA no more, Q. So was this access into the NSA where they're eavesdropping and backdooring into the NSA? That may have been the more I think about it. The message screenshot below being seen as a national security agency, the NSA, terminating Britain's access to American spy secrets. I think that's correct. And so they employ 50 intelligent people on this source. This talks more about the whole GCHQ. And this is Britain Signals Intelligence Agency, GCHQ, intercepted communications with Trump Tower during the 2016 U.S. presidential election. His evidence for this, GCHQ Director Robert Hannigan, and resigned 3 days later after Trump's inauguration. And supporters of the followers of Q movement are saying America's military top brass had been planning to take down the deep state with Donald Trump's help since 2012. Some observers were quick to point out that President Trump's recent Space Force announcement, Space Force brings back separate but equal, June of 2018. The implication being that Trump already has the wherewithal to bring about military strikes in outer space. In August 2018, the Reuters news service reported Congressman David Nunes, chairman of the U.S. House Intelligence Committee and a strong supporter of President Donald Trump, sought unsuccessfully to meet chiefs of Britain's 3 intelligence agencies on a recent visit to London, according to 2 sources familiar with his itinerary. Congressman Nunes sought meeting with UK spy chiefs in London. It was reported that Nunes wanted to meet with top U.S. spy officials in the Steele Russia dossier, but were used to try to smear the U.S. president. GCHQ had access to NSA computers no more. So has science meant conspiracy theory? Clearly, something strange is happening online, and independent experts are confirming some kind of DDoS attack whereby Any targeted online servers are targeted and swamped with access requests. When this happens, it usually causes very high CPU and bandwidth usage. Hence, resources limits become overloaded and the service is disrupted. Check out the latest real-time DDoS attacks at MAP. They have 2 links here for you can actually go see where it's happening. Over on YouTube, various channels have garnered respect among independent researchers, conspiracy theorists, interpreting the breadcrumbs, military intel being dropped by Q. RPSI readers were provided a sample of the Q phenomenon last week. Obviously, some of us over here remain skeptical, but keeping an open mind until further evidence emerges. We have been following the broadcast of the many online analysts, such as Blessed to Teach. There's a link to the video from last night, and the 22X channel for updates. A few snippets of commentary are featured below from the Great Awakening blog. Look at this, our blog here, a site which Q has already linked back to in subreddit 12 times. But we encourage our readers to be skeptical and always perform their own diligent research. Great Awakening selected comments. So then there's a lot of comments from the Great Awakening down here on the rest of this. But this is I think a confirmation that this actually did happen. And now that they took out 1, 2, and 5 back in January, now here in August 30th, they took down the other 4, blinded them completely. This is interesting times to see how this happened here. And so John, if you're here, if you're listening, John O'Sullivan, nice to be on the broadcast. Thanks for referring to this channel. But crazy stuff going on. Let's get back to these Q posts and look. So we talked about Utah and confirmed some stuff from yesterday. 2027 information comes in many forms. Q. And this is interesting. I'm gonna have to. What I like to do on this is I like to go back to this and actually go back to the actual 8chan. It takes a while. I want you to understand this too. I'm not encouraging you to go to 8chan because it's very difficult on an ongoing basis. But if you just don't know what he's referring to, sometimes you can just do what I just did there. If you wait a while and it says information comes in many forms, this is where he's really posting, right? We're getting a summarized view. And you can usually see what he was if you click on here, and it's not doing it for me. It's holding up on me because of the resources I'm using. As you can see, I need to upgrade my computer, even though I have a pretty new Mac. But I need with what I'm doing here, it looks like it's going to need. So here we go. So this basically says it's like a fan site ran by someone that probably works there, or a patient that is intent on understanding government entities. This Anon nails it. And he basically says, information comes from many forms. And I don't know if this is playing games on me. Yeah, it is playing games on me. It's what it's actually highlighting. Trying to highlight the actual 6119, but you see it's highlighted above. So when your computer's not freaking out, you can come here and click on that and actually see where that came from. That's why I just want to make sure you can go to the 8chan sites, okay? I'm going to close that because it's obviously taking up a lot of resources. Here we go, Lo. So he's referring to an Anon, probably about a bunch of other types of things that are happening and sources that we can get things from. If you know what that is about on that, let me know. 2028. He's posting back from August 30th, where we had this Washington Post things talking about the Cueanon conspiracy movement is very unpopular and Trump's historic unpopularity last week. Notice any similarities? Q, right? So it's quite funny that the Washington Post, Jeff Bezos himself, who owns WAPO, is actually using his mouthpiece of deep state propaganda to tell you that QAnon's not popular and to tell you Trump's not popular. So they completely lie. It's part of the 4 a.m. talking points now, as you'll see here, because here's a new one. 60% disapprove of Trump, while clear majorities back Mueller and Sessions. Look at this. They took the bait. We've been telling you the whole time that trust Sessions. But at the same time, what's Trump doing? He's talking bad about Sessions, separated himself from Sessions. And now what's the mainstream media got to do? Oh, Sessions is great. So now they're supporting Sessions in WAPO, which is crazy to me. Think polls posted yesterday, WAPO. What are the odds of that? Notice any similarities? So here we go. They baited them completely. Now here's a ton of others. You can tell it was part of the 4 a.m. talking points. Trump approval rating poll. They talk about it here. Disapproval rating soars, which is a complete lie. Almost all of them are showing he's still where he was before all this onslaught hit him. Most Americans support Robert Mueller probe and Jeff Sessions. That's out of CNBC. So article after article after article. Side with Sessions. Support Jeff Sessions. You can go fire up all these. Just go to Cueanon.map and Cueanon.app. Either one of those. Newsweek. Support for Sessions and Mueller. So everybody's talking about how awesome Sessions and Mueller is right now, just like you wanted it to happen. Poll disapproval. Trump hits new high. Do you believe in coincidences? So do you trust Washington polls? The Washington Post polls? WAPO polls? No way. But that is 2028 showing you how Trump is playing the media like a violin. And he's using Q now to help with it. So that's what now we have the answer to why Sarah A. Carter, as well as Sean Hannity, as well as all the Republicans are talking about Sessions is bad. Even Jeannie Perot, Judge Jeanine, right, was doing the same thing. Just what they wanted, to separate him. So that also means we're probably getting pretty close to some pretty major Session hammer dropping, which that's what we're all waiting for. That'd be awesome. So the next post, he just takes that same post and he amplifies on it. And it's Think WAPO, which is Washington Post. QAnon yesterday poll. POTUS today poll. Notice any similarities? So he's just reiterating that. That's pretty important for you guys to see that this mockingbird media, deep state talking points are doing everything they can to discredit Trump. And now they're moving to discredit QAnon. That's a pretty big compliment, guys, of what we're doing here. Notice any similarities? Fake news readers, asleep, not attentive or alert, inactive, told to support Sessions? ? Literally, the fake news took the bait. Every battle is won before it's ever fought. Are you awake? Q. So if you're awake, you know to trust Sessions. You know this is a ploy. This is part of this is the great acting. He says, what makes a good movie? Great actors. You can go search that and go see that all over the place. Every battle is won before it's ever fought. I think that's Sun Tzu and the art of war, right? So Q is under control, completely under control. We're going to see that when we get to SB2 Decodes, where he completely did this 30-day plan. You know, we had 31s versus 30. SB2 decoded that. We now know exactly that this was a planned death of a convicted criminal, John McCain, or No Name, I should say. 2030. Here we go. 2 more prosecutors leave Mueller special counsel. One, a cyber crime expert. Spokesperson says not due to political bias or wrongdoing. 2 more prosecutors leave the Mueller, and they just say the same thing. One specialized in cyber crimes, and so you can go look at that article, a CNBC article there. That's just big. The Mueller probe is purposely, I think, fallen apart. Now here's 2031. You see Clinton. Look at all these newspapers. I think there's 3 columns at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 times 3. What is that, 52 or something like that? Newspapers. You've got completely endorsing Clinton. How many of these daily newspapers supported Trump? 0. Do we have a bias with the mockingbird media? I think so. Do you believe actual polls were conducted? Pre-election polls, HRC favored 90 to 98%. Reconcile against results. Why is there emphasis put on polls? Define human nature. The general psychological characteristics, feelings, and behavioral traits of humankind regarded as shared by all humans. Point 1, fake news logic. If people believe the odds are hopeless their candidate will win, do they still make the effort to vote? Point 2, if people believe the odds are overwhelming their candidate will win, do they still make the effort to vote? Does 1 counsel 2? Point 3, fake news logic. That was point 1 and 2 there. Here's point 3. If people believe, the majority of people feel a certain way about something, do they go with the majority to feel accepted? If the majority of people believe something does that imply it must be right? Does this give rise to we are the majority mindset? Define echo chamber. A metaphorical description of a situation in which beliefs are amplified or reinforced by communication and repetition inside a closed system. Prior to news platforms, networks connecting people, did the old guard have full control? Did the old guard learn from the mistake, 2016 election, and now tasking all news platforms, networks to censor? When you are awake, you can see clearly. So all those questions are awesome questions, clearly showing us that the fake news media really thought that if they put the narrative out there that Hillary was going to win for sure, they hoped to suppress the Trump vote. And they didn't realize they may have suppressed their own vote as well. Some of the Hillary supporters say we're going to win anyway, so we're fine. So that's part of it. But number 2, the biggest part of the takeaway I think happened here is that they realized that independent media crushed them. That the fake news newspapers and the fake news TV stations, etc., they were all controlled by the Mockingbird media and truly tried to give all these out. And they realized they didn't have enough control over independent media. So now, as Vladimir Lenin said from the Russia, right, the old communist Russia, the best way to control the opposition is to lead it ourselves. So what are they doing now? They're doing 2 major things. They're censoring us completely off YouTube and from Google and from Twitter and from Facebook, etc., right? And then secondly, they went up and bought off the independent media. Look at how many independent media people, that usually the ones that are most established, are now talking bad about Cueanon. What happened there? That's part of the Lenin strategy that this sophisticated cabal is using. So again, when you're awake, you can see clearly. If you're red-pilled, you know who's lying to you, right? And it's pretty much easy. If you go think for yourself and see all the proofs of Cueanon, you're going to be able to easily find the counterfeit. Like I told you before, the experts in counterfeit, they study the $100 bill, for instance, and they understand that $100 bill so well that if they say any counterfeit, no matter what it is, boom, it stands out to them. That's what counterfeit experts do. They don't study frauds. They study the real thing, and a fraud will just come out. And that's what you can do. If you understand if QAnon's true and you think for yourself and you realize it, then all these people trying to take you away from QAnon, you know are fraudulent. So be careful who you follow. And this is funny. He says, like clockwork, Q. So they baited it on Sessions, and the fake stream media took them up on it. So now the average person that believes in the fake news, that believes in the propaganda, that really believes in it, then they actually will think, hey, Sessions is a good guy. I'm going to trust him. So when Sessions ends up arresting all these people, what are they going to do? They're less likely to revolt. Because that's what they're trying to do, is create a bunch of potential dangerous, millions of people being killed in the United States if you try to take down the deep state by brainwashing them to think that Trump's the bad guy. And now that they made Trump out to be the bad guy, they're separating him. Sessions is not the bad guy. So when Sessions drops the hammer, it's not going to be that big of a revolt. 2023, he talks about that like clockwork from the last post, and he post this tweet from Victoria Tonsing, and it basically says, shame on the Justice Department. AG appointed U.S. Attorney Huber 9 months ago to look at Uranium One and FISA false application. Huber has not interviewed Orrs. And she's talking about Bruce Orr. I don't know why she has the S in there. She might be thinking of Nellie and Bruce. Hubert has not interviewed my client, Doug Campbell, the FBI undercover informant for Uranium One. Hashtag MAGA. So again, everybody's given the same narrative here. The fake news media is going, yeah, Sessions, yeah. Which is the silent executioner that's about ready to take down the deep state, is being cheered on by the deep state. What a beautiful thing. Now, I don't think, obviously, the sophisticated deep state people that are on here watching obviously aren't fooled, but all the massive amount of undercover double agents in the media are. A lot of them aren't watching here, obviously. I would guess that's how they fooled them. Because the Trump derangement system says he doesn't like Sessions, so I like Sessions. So just total playing them like a violin. Go Donald J. Trump. Here's another thing from August 30th. He posted this. He talked about this yesterday. Emotions cloud judgment. Why is Huber being discussed now? What if the Texas congressman was not supposed to drop that name? Why is Huber being discussed now? Why is Huber all of a sudden being grouped into the anti-Sessions, remove, fire, nothing being done? Discussed by right or left. It's the right talking about it. That's why the deep state's attacking it. Again, this is not a right versus left thing. We've got to be careful of that when it comes to the person, the average person. There's tons of Democrats that are good people that are coming to the realization that they're part of the We Are the People movement against the criminal left and the criminal right. Okay, so be careful there. Huber did not directly interview insert name. Huber did not do this. Huber did not do that. Sessions did not do this. Sessions did not do that. When will Sessions? When will Sessions? Who does Huber work with specifically? And we talked about that last night. It's Horowitz and the IG. Who investigates? That's the IG. Who prosecutes? Huber. The team of 470? Yes, huge team Horowitz has had working on this for 9+ months. Will BO transcripts be released? That's Bruce Orr. I think so. Huber plus IG plus 470. That's really what's going to drain the swamp. Inside or outside the D.C. swamp? He's outside of it, so he's completely powered in all 50 states without the weird laws and all the corruptness in the swamp of D.C. How many members of Congress not seeking re-election? Tons of them. Speaker of the House not seeking election. Ryan, we know that. How many senators have resigned or not seeking another term? Tons of them. How many senior FBI have been removed? A lot. How many senior DOJ have been removed? And we have full list of them, right? Nothing to see here. But, and he's now being very sarcastic, we should attack them head on in the DC, the swamp, using a second special counsel? Emotions cloud judgment. So that's just a great post. And it says, like clockwork. So this has worked flawlessly, right? Just the way Q wants it to. So we'll see how they try to counteract that. 2034 says both chambers, House and Senate, in session on Tuesday, right? So that's interesting information to see what is going to happen on Tuesday. After it says CNN, look hard, it doesn't exist, right? And so I'm not sure exactly what this. I didn't look at this yet, so I'll look at it with you guys. See if there's looks like a little video here. See if it plays. I have to turn this off.
Look hard, because it doesn't exist. Whatever was left of CNN's credibility is now gone.
Okay. Okay, so that Q actually, that's the first time I didn't click on this last time. So obviously the CNN credibility is dead right now. And then he says, that's interesting, he says both chambers, House and Senate, in session on Tuesday. So I wonder if something big is going to happen on Tuesday. And that must be related to CNN, maybe? That's kind of weird he put that in the same post. You let me know what you guys think. Here we go, 2035. Another Fox News article saying California bullet train project on track to blow through billions more dollars. Does this mean more files? Paul and Nancy Pelosi Charitable Foundation? Q. So we know Nancy Pelosi came in not a wealthy person, and right now she's been in their office for years and is massively wealthy. They all use like the McCain Institute and her Nancy Pelosi Charitable Foundation and the Hilton Foundation to enrich themselves and off our backs. We know that is what's happening in D.C. and just nobody could do anything about it. Well, we now have a man in office who's doing something about it. This is exciting stuff. So in California is just really freaking out here. We'll have to see, trying to purposely bankrupt themselves, it looks like. 2036. What about the budget? So this talks about Gavin Newsom wants free health care for illegal immigrants if elected governor. We got California one step closer to expanding medical for illegal immigrants. Woo! Why would California elected officials knowingly collapse the budget? Who elects the California officials? We know a lot of it is the illegals. Fox Business says politics. California allows illegal to vote. GOP chairman. Money to be made? Question mark. That usually means a big fat yes. They're making some huge money. Somebody getting paid off by who? These big corporations and the access to the ports in New York and California. So it says, example, Forbes magazine, how American citizens finance health care for undocumented immigrants. That's one example. We're doing that. Big Pharma donates how much money to California? New York elected officials. So we got Big Pharma giving massive money there. Compared versus other states. If you go look, it'd be interesting when the Anons get done with this research, how much is California and New York are being paid by big pharma companies. And compared to the other states, you'll see it's overwhelming. Why are California and New York vital areas of control? Think ports. Think legal protection. Q. So here's a whole new area about California just fighting and New York and basically criminal activity. So just the same way Nancy Pelosi and Maxine Waters and John McCain all make all their money with their charitable contribution, supposed funds or McCain Institute or these foundations, just like the Clinton Foundation was. They're complete criminal money laundering organizations, right? Now he's showing there's also just massive access to the ports and getting elected and businesses we learned this in the killing of Uncle Sam I've been going over, right? The New World Order controlled these large, big companies and they just bought off all the politicians. So now we have a man in office who's doing something about it, holding them accountable to their criminality. That's 2036. Go to 2037. So he takes that same post from below and he puts this thing about your vote counts. Now this is encouraging. Look at this. This is Q talking. He says, we will do our job to protect the vote. Will you do yours? Fight, fight, fight. Q. And I want to stop there just for a second to say, guys, you've got to get not only you out to vote, but you need to get your friends and family out to vote. This is a spiritual battle. We need to be praying for this as well as getting very active. We talked about this army of God that Mark Taylor talks about, right? Versus the body of Christ. And this army of God are patriots that are going to take, and God is basically ripping out evil and putting in righteousness. And he wants action from us. Not sitting back and only praying, but pray and act, right? So please get your friends, get your family, get people registered that aren't registered. Not enough Republicans register. Again, this isn't right versus left, but this election it is because they have control. The deep state had control of a ton of the Republicans and Democrats. Now they've pretty much, through the All-One Brothers and everything else, through bribery, are now control 100% of the Democrats. And Trump is cleaning out the rhinos in the Republican Party. So this new party, what I call the Patriot Party, is being formed under Trump. Getting rid of the rhinos. But the enemy right now is, in this election, is the anti-Trumper Democrats. Okay, so we need to get out and vote against the cabal. This is we the people, Democrats and Republicans, coming together to vote out the cabal. Right? The last thing we want to do is get a impeachment in Trump. So it's not going to happen according to a lot of the prophets, etc. But it's not going to happen because you guys act. So remember, God can change his mind. He changed his mind when Moses prayed to him, and he can get mad at us and change his mind again. So please fight, fight, fight. Like Trump said in his speech and confirmed Q, because Q always says fight, fight, fight. So Trump and Q are on the same page. They need us to be out at the polls November 6th. And we got to treat this like a presidential election because it really is. It's going to empower Trump to be able to effectively rid these criminals and move forward with a America First agenda and with a healed nation, or it's going to revert back to legal cases against Trump where he can't get hardly anything done. So it's on us. Get out to the polls, please. 2038. Here, I think this is Donald J. Trump. I think Q plus is Donald J. Trump. Sometimes he says 410-20, but I believe this is Donald J. Trump. So here's this, a picture of a flag. United we stand, it says. In all capital letters, he says, where we go one, we go all. We, the people. From sea to shining sea. Let freedom ring, patriots. It is your time. If America falls, the world falls. United we stand. God bless you all. That's an important thing to know. He's healing this land because he's going to use it as a launching point for his kingdom. I'm talking about God's doing that right now. And we got to support the president right now in cleaning out the criminals in our government. And we're not just doing it for the United States of America. We're doing it for all these patriots worldwide. People from New Zealand and Australia and Canada and all the Five Eyes countries in Britain. They're listening to this right now. They're on the Great Awakening board with us. Look at the Great Awakening board right now. It's at 66,000 right now, and it was at 15 or 20 when I started talking to you guys. So that we need to get more people out there to really understand what that is and how important it is. This is the board that Q has linked to 12 times. All right, one of them is SB2. We're going to talk about in just a second. So that is 2038. Now we're on 2039. I'm going to see if Q's posted again because I'm almost getting to the end here. Thank goodness he hasn't, because I need to start my Friday night. Okay, so here's 2039. We've got breaking in response to JW's the FOIA lawsuit, which is the Freedom of Information Act. DOJ admitted that the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court held no hearings on the FISA spy application targeting Carter Page, former Trump campaign advisor who was the subject of 4 FISA warrants. Whoa, that is huge. Judicial Watch is awesome, by the way. If you have a few dollars to throw them at them. They're doing a phenomenal job getting documents released. 2039 there. Judicial Watch, Justice Department discloses no FISA court hearings held on Carter Page, which would mean they didn't even have all that illegal activity, and they didn't even have a hearing on it. That's just shocking. This is new information, bombshell dropped today. That's why I put it on my slide back here, right? No hearings. Spygate treason confirmed, in my opinion. And that is, where are the judges? They were comped to. JudicialWatch.org press room release, and it talks about it. If you bake it, he will crumb. That was an Anon talking about that. So this is true. Where are the judges? Were they comped to? So they completely corrupted? And this is that whole article you can go see. Judicial Watch Justice Department discloses no FISA court hearings held on Carter Page. I mean, that basically says no FISA hearings to give 4 different extensions, the original and plus 3 extensions, to continually spy on the Trump campaign. Are you kidding me? And Q says big, big, big Q. Wow. I mean, to me, that is the bombshell of the day, 2040. And I think there might have been one more, so I'm gonna refresh one more time that I thought I saw on a different app, so we'll see if that comes up. But that was 2031. And man, I don't know if you guys are enjoying this, but this has been a week to remember. Here it is, 2040. So this is a couple of Trump's tweets. With, again, a link to this. Judicial Watch Justice Department discloses no FISA court hearings held on Carter Page warrants. And it says, or told the FBI, the fake dossier, wasn't true. It was a lie, and the FBI was determined to use it anyways to damage Trump and to perpetuate a fraud on the court to spy on the Trump campaign. This is a fraud on the court. The Chief Justice of the U.S. Supreme Court is in charge of the FISA court. He should direct the president the presiding judge, he should direct the presiding judge, Rosemary Collier, to hold a hearing, haul all of these people from the DOJ and FBI in there, and if she finds there were crimes committed, and there should be a criminal referral by her, end quote, at Greg Jarrett. So that's Greg Jarrett from Fox News, has a book out about all this criminality. But this is a new, as Q says, big, 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 big. So he had 3 on top of each other bigs. Now he's giving us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bigs. So amazing day, amazing week we've had here. A lot of other news I want to get to real quick, so let's start getting into that. So I read about several things. There's 2 decodes of SB2. And if you want to see the details of this, make sure you subscribe to War Drummer. He does a beautiful, with music in the background, and he reads the entire SB2 post. It would take me, and they're 40-minute posts sometimes, right? So I'm not going to read through all these because it'll be too long of a video. We're already at 45 minutes, right? And I want to get to a prophecy as well as a prayer as well. So so there's one that was 2 days ago, which was QCOM's Let's Break Down the McCain Operation. Awesomely done. I'm just going to go show the graphics. He has a lot of decoding of numbers and gematria, but I'm not going to go through that. And then there's another one and 4 hours a day. That's today, right? So I'm going to start with the one that's today. Define single shooter. And it says first-person shooter games. So the event with the highest heart rate, when they measure the heart rate of the player, right? The event with the highest heart rate occurs when player runs out of ammunition while under combat. Can you imagine that? So there's all these games, and you run out. Oh my goodness, I'm out of ammunition. You have to go try to find ammunition. You're being shot at. That your heart rate goes way up as a gamer, right? So this says Huber plus IG equals massive stockpile of actual ammunition. And it says in kill brackets RR, Rod Rosenstein equals empty kill box. I mean, they're out of ammo. Their mud balls don't stick, and now they're blind. So they're out of ammunition and they're blind. Talk about disadvantage. So the deep state is in trouble, is what they are. By the way, if you guys have seen Bill Smith, let me know. I haven't been able to check a lot of my social media much as I've been working all day. But from what I see, I looked at his Twitter, and I was still no hear from him. It's been gone since August 16th was his last video. August 15th was his last tweet. That is not like him. That's scary. So please let me know if you hear anything. This goes, before discussing single shooter mechanics, let's consider key player shooters, etc. And I'm not going to review this, guys. It's really long, and it's I'm sure it's awesome, but I haven't had time to actually decipher it all. But I thought that was just really awesome. How I just want to point this, guys, to you. So maybe I'll have some time to go over this. If Q doesn't post 14, 20, 30 posts a day, we can actually dig into this a little bit. But this is pretty cool. I think it's summarized here, though, that they're out of ammo, their mud balls don't stick, and now they're blind, right? Why? What? Huber plus IG is massive stockpile of ammunition. So here's another SB2 one. I can't go through all this either time-wise, but let's break down the McCain operation. There's several things that were confirmed here that are amazing. Let's just go to some of his images here. So it talks about them. POTUS tweeted this. And this is when he said, my deepest sympathies and respect go out to the family of Senator John McCain. Our hearts and prayers are with you, right? Doesn't say anything about McCain himself, and that was pretty evident all the way. Then they have some things about what where he was with Aretha Franklin. He actually was talking about Aretha all the time and how great she was as an example, right? And there's all kinds of things about the funeral and everything, but I wanted to go all the way down to this image right here to kind of show you where all his decoding's coming out to. So it's back to 1932. This is the big one that said suicide weekend, hands up, 30, 28, impossible, coincidence, we are in control, big week ahead. And this is basically right after his death was announced, right? We know, I think it was 7:46, or 7:28, I think it was Eastern time when he was dead. If there's two different time zones in Arizona. And they were all the way left, 3 hours difference. But if you go look at the actual post that was on the board versus what it said here, you'll see that it was at the 28th minute. I'll show you back in a second. But this is just showing that this is this cool thing. Suicide weekend. So the suicide was actually John McCain. His hands were up. You'll see 31 days ago, I believe it was. But 30, he tells us later, exactly 30. And then the 28 minutes, was it impossible to know the exact hour and minute that John McCain was going to be pronounced dead? Well, if it was planned, yes. Impossible coincidence. We are in control. So that's what this is all about. And he clarified several things here in a second. And so this is another post here. So here's all these things that are very clear. What is the John McCain Institute? Notice any patterns related to Clinton Foundation? Where did John McCain obtain his surgery? We know that was a Mayo Clinic, which the Bushes, the globalist Bushes, are also part of the board. Why is this relevant? Because they faked his surgery. What surgery did he supposedly have? By the way, most of the time that type of brain cancer would be in the back of the head, not in the front. His surgery was here. How many days until he was back in Congress and sitting in the so they were questioning it all the way back in November 2nd. Here's October. What if John McCain never had surgery and that was for a cover for future out if he needed it against prosecution? What if John McCain's surgery was fake? This is in October. And here's October 29th. What if John McCain never had surgery and that was a cover for a future out if necessary against prosecution? So clearly, Q is telling us that that was a fake surgery, right, with all those references. And so this goes on, and it starts getting into a lot of decoding. He did not depart on his own terms. Think Flynn 30, exactly 30. So remember in 1934, it says exactly 30 days, and that confused me because it was 31 days from hands up to the exact death, right? But they told us the time in that one. So the hands up one was just to show us the time was going to be exactly at 7:28 p.m., which Pacific time, where he died was 4:28 p.m. That's what his death certificate said, and everybody said it. And John McCain dies at 4:28 p.m., which is 7:28 p.m. And if you go back and look at the actual timestamps in the Patriot Fight Board, 7:28 is when the hands up post came, 31 days before. Now the at 28, so that was confirming the at 28, right? So he does all kinds of gematria stuff here that I'm not going to get into. That basically talks about different things. Like I think it was he decoded. He did not go on his own terms, and the gematria of that was the same as McCain. I think this image right here might show a little bit about that. And it's here. Nope. This is a little different one. He did not depart on his own terms. Came out to 335 with gematria, and Colossians 3:5 right here, where he talks about put to death, is 335. And so he did not depart on his own terms, and the fact that this post here, so this next post, which was exactly 30 days from his death, remember this whole one that was a photocopy deal that he just reported to? I think that was just a kind of deflection. But this right here, he says, your evil has no place in the world. So he's talking about McCain. And Colossians 3:5, what's the first part of Colossians 3:5? Put to death. So you're going to be put to death in exactly 30 days. Your evil has no place in this world. Whoa, guys. I just thought that was so cool how we pulled together that 28 minutes, exact hour, 7:28 Eastern time, is when John McCain died. And that time was given to us with the hands up poster clearly showing the 28th minute at 7:28 p.m. Eastern time. And then exactly 30 days is this post about put to death with Colossians 3:5. Your place has no evil in this world. And that the gematria of Colossians 3:35 is the same as when she said he did not depart on his own terms. Wow, what great work by SB2. I know a lot of people are struggling with some of the gematria, but I tell you, this was a pretty cool deal that I was able to look through here. Here's the hands up thing. I look at it, 18:28, which is 6:28 p.m. But if you go look at the Patriot Fight Board, it was actually 7:28 p.m. And Trump talks for 28 minutes on bill named for John McCain, not to mention McCain. So the New York Times he's claiming that why wouldn't they say a half hour? He literally said 28 minutes when they were talking about this. So didn't use John McCain's name, and he talked for 28 minutes. And we're talking about this 28 minutes that he died on. Crazy stuff. Timestamp plus Trump's speech is at the 28. File number of digits 32. File name letter gematria 30. File name number 43. So there's a lot of stuff here, and he pretty much adds it up to McCain and et cetera. So that's a lot of that number decoding that I don't have time to go over, but you guys can go look at that. I think those are the main things I wanted to go over. His images are always good, so I always like to go to this. So here's the full picture of it that you can go look, talking about the hands up picture that literally was the exact same time, 31 days later, 1928 Eastern time. Seeing that the 8chan stamp. So he kind of shows it there. And then he has all the articles we already saw, and he just pulls all these different things together. No name plus 911 equals 187, which was interesting. And so that is interesting here. He has Skull and Bones asset, so he basically brought it back to the Skull and Bones. The 43 meaning McCain. And this is interesting. False flag. That's the first time I saw that, faking his death. So I'm sure hoping it's not a fake death. Fake death will occur 30 days after Q17 notifications. So I thought, I hope it's not a fake death. POTUS validation will have the 28 mark. His legacy will be destroyed. Colossians 3:5. So that's all I'm going to go over there. I might go to the last paragraph here because he always does a good job summing it up. He's got one more image that will sneak in here. Again, no name, the 28th minute, talks a lot of gematria, and it comes back to some of his tweets here where it says, no name out now. That was back on Q1305. So I see what he did here. It just goes through all the Q posts and then shows the events of how this happened. Here's the one that says, please do not let No Name off the hook. He is a disgrace to veterans across the great country and needs to be held accountable. That was on June 30th. And then July 17th, John McCain puts out a statement here, et cetera, et cetera. I'm not going to drain all this because we, et cetera. This goes on for quite a while. But here's the sum. So you thought the White House flag was lowered to honor No Name? Think again. I just showed you how Trump brilliantly solved the delicate No Name false flag political communication equation. Q1690. You are watching the systematic destruction of the old guard. Power will return to the people. Q. Man, crazy stuff going on right now. Let's go through a few pieces of note and then we'll get to a prophecy. Here's somebody. Been following Q since day one. Finally spotted another follower in the wild. So here's somebody that has this Otis Fitness, 4 a.m. to 10 p.m. It says, where we go one, we go all on the board there. So we're starting to see it pop up everywhere. This person's referring back to someone said, Anons, do you see what's happening here? Those who are still influenced by the MSM have just been convinced that Sessions is their friend. This is the plan. To convince the left and the media to support the ones who will be prosecuting the deep state. The art of war. I thought that was awesome here. This is what happens when POTUS has no strings attached. Trump threatens to pull out of the WTO, the World Trade Organization, if it doesn't shape up. There's a whole Bloomberg article on there. You can go read if you'd like. And Trump threatens to pull out U.S. out of the World Trade Organization if it doesn't shape up. So this is the actual Bloomberg article that you can go dig into. I'll put the link below. Pretty soon I'm going to put them with my new podcast, and I don't want to put them in two places. So I'm going to put all my notes in, and I'll have a link into my website instead, which will hopefully be launched in the next couple of weeks. Look at this. Hillary crowd, Trump crowd. How else can you explain her loss? Pretty obvious, isn't it? Here's a meme, has John F. Kennedy on the left, President Trump on the right. It says, the Great Awakening. This time you lose. Isn't that true? It's going to happen, guys. It's happening, I'm telling you. So again, go to the Great Awakening site. There's all kinds of things. This person says, Indian here, love Trump. He's my hero. Thank you. Q, I appreciate your work. Appreciate your work. Always was looking for people who will stand up and fight for good. Glad you are. Along with POTUS, God is with you. You will keep winning. Crazy stuff. Following you, I get goosebumps. Your work is what fulfilled the desire of my life. Thanks, Q. Now, the real reason I showed you this is the first comment. Here's an atheist guy, and he posts on here. And he was just shocked about how much love he got. He's got, I know, how much does he have? 48 upvotes, and he started getting all kinds of emails. You can kind of email with and Reddit, see people directly, kind of like DMing in Twitter. It says, Ashensu, welcome aboard from here. To love America crosses all the borders of race, religion, and ethnicity, country, origin. When we the people come together as one nation or God, remember our America Constitution is colorblind, race blind, ethnicity blind, religion blind, country of origin blind. It means we the people are united and our fight is with evil. And so, anyway, I think there was one talking about an atheist but anyway, good stuff. That I think that's real good point there. So, I'm going to read that one more time. Remember, our American Constitution is colorblind, race blind, ethnicity blind, religion blind, country of origin blind. It means we the people are united and our fight is with evil. Boy, that's a good summary of the where we go one, where we go all movement, isn't it? So a few more pieces of news. POTUS, let's see if she gets away with it. All I can say, our Justice Department and FBI have to start doing their job, doing it right, and doing it now. People are angry. What's happening is a disgrace. I will get involved if I have to. The world is watching. There's that, the world is watching from his speech. Right? And this other Anon basically says, hey, had me on my feet jumping and doing double fist pumps. I love the energy. Same. I yelled, yes, when I heard our POTUS say this while watching the rally on my computer. I work at home, so I'm sure my next door neighbors heard me cry out. So people are excited about what's happening here. And everybody just wants accountability and fairness. It says, looks like Indiana went well. I'm jealous. So you can just see that rally just is creating so much excitement, and this president's doing amazing things. Anybody else just stop and pray after reading Q 2019? It says, please keep POTUS safe, Q. And what's Q say? We will gladly end our lives to ensure he lives. More than you can imagine. Q. Wow. That is true patriots protecting the president. Last thing before we move on to a prophecy. It says, go NSA, Snow White computers, Corona, those SATs, offline, link, and it has a cat here, or the frog guy, right, actually, on all the NSA computers. Kind of funny. So just real quick, talking about how you can connect with me. I have a Blessed to Teach Facebook, so connect with me there. I have a Blessed to Teach Twitter, @BlessedToTeach, no spaces, obviously, on Twitter. And also just wanted to talk real quickly about my wife's business. Again, it's not just the United States. You pay bills at your house or pay bills in your business. All the Canada, New Zealand, Australia, United Kingdom, Norway, Netherlands, all France, Germany, etc. So they've expanded well, and they're really given common men opportunities to actually build little side businesses, and sometimes full-time businesses are substantial in those countries. But what Shannon needs is just customers right now. So I really would appreciate you guys considering that. I call it the 3 wins. Doesn't cost you $1 because we hopefully are going to save you money as you switch over to the reseller ACN. Number 2 is it feeds kids every time people pay bills. And then number 3, it actually will help my wife's business. So really do appreciate that. Just to give you a quick idea of the types of services, they just work with like France Telecom. They work with some of the top providers in each country. In the United States, it's Verizon and Sprint for wireless, right? So instead of paying Verizon, you just pay this Flash Wireless, which better billing, simpler billing, and a little bit better deals than what Verizon gives you directly, right? Dish and DirecTV, same thing, right? And AT&T and Frontier for these actual bundles. And then the home security is awesome. home automation. You can automate everything in your house. See your cameras, see the doorbell camera, right? You can unlock and lock your doors and turn your thermostats up and your lights. Complete home automation. And I like it when people say, hey, do you have a smartphone? You do have a smartphone? Then why do you have a dumb house? Right? So if you want to do home automation, this is one of the innovators of the year. It's called Vivint. It's awesome, and they resell that. And they became the energy retailer of the year. So those of you in Texas and other electricity states and even solar, you can do that as well. And then I always have to end with this one. Please don't support Square. Square started by Dorsey from Twitter, and then it's owned by Google. So don't support the deep state. Plus, they're ripping you off. They charge you 2.75%. So if you ever go and see somebody using a mobile device and they're using a little thing that's clicked on here, and that's usually going to be Square. If they're using Square, they're getting ripped off. My wife can save about half, reduce their pricing about half. It's the credit card processor of the year for 2 years straight. They just made it a lot cheaper. It's more secure. The device that goes on here, and get people off Square, please. Do me a favor, right? And there's a little survey you can fill out to connect with Shannon and help out. I might help her out this weekend. She's in a conference, so I might be calling you if you fill out your survey and see if I can help coordinate. And she's teaching me about how to do this, so I can help her out a little bit. But God bless you guys. I really appreciate it. Let's get into a prophecy and to some prayer. This is Mark Taylor, Commander-in-Chief. So he got this April 28th, 2011. So this is the one where he predicted Trump was going to become president. He didn't get this out right away, but he gave it several years later to Mary Colbert. And they were big, and one the time they really got into this, they were like I was. They wanted a Christian in the White House, and they were for Tom. So they're for different candidates. So just like I was doing, and they weren't Trump supporters early on. And then they read this still, and they became huge Trump supporters. Organized prayer groups, and thousands and thousands of people around the United States were coming in every day and praying for Donald Trump. And at the election morning, they literally blew their Jewish horns, those shawls or whatever those are called, right? And I messed that term up, but everybody was praying. A spiritual movement happened in November of 2016. Amazing thing happened there, and a lot of it was because God saw our prayers and the remnant was praying. But this is the very prediction. Now there's others. Clement predicted this in 2007, right? But here's his 2011 word from God that he got. The Spirit of God says, I have chosen this man, Donald Trump, for such a time as this. For as Benjamin Netanyahu is to Israel, so shall this man be to the United States of America. For I will use this man to bring honor, respect, and restoration to America. America will be respected once again as the most powerful and prosperous nation on earth, other than Israel. The dollar will be the strongest it has ever been in the history of the United States, and will once again be the currency by which all others are judged. Now that's interesting, isn't it? The Spirit of God says, the enemy will wake and shake and fear this man I have anointed. They will even quake and shake when he announces he is running for president, and it will be like a shot heard across the world. The enemy will say, what shall we do now? The man knows all our tricks and schemes. We have been robbing America for decades. What shall we do to stop this? The Spirit says, ha! No one shall stop this that I have started. For the enemy has stolen from America for decades, and it stops now. For I will use this man to reap the harvest that the United States has sown and plunder from the enemy what he has stolen, and return it sevenfold back to the United States. The enemy will say, Israel, Israel, what about Israel? For Israel will be protected by America once again. The Spirit says, yes, America will once again stand hand in hand with Israel, and the two shall be as one. For the ties between Israel and America will be stronger than ever, and Israel will flourish like never before. The Spirit of God says, I will protect America and Israel, for this next generation will be a man of his word. When he speaks, the world will listen and know that there is something greater in him than all the others before him. This man's word is his bond, and the world and America will know this, and the enemy will fear this. For this man will be fearless. The Spirit says, when the financial harvest begins, so shall it parallel in the spiritual for America. The Spirit of God says, in this next election, they will spend billions to keep this president in. It will be like flushing their money down the toilet. Let them waste their money, for it comes from and is being used by evil forces at work. But they will not succeed, for this next election will be a clean sweep for the man I have chosen. They will say things about this man, the enemy, but it will not affect him. And they shall say it rolls off him like a duck. For as the feathers of the duck protect it, so shall my feathers protect this next president. Even mainstream news media will be captivated by this man and the abilities that I have gifted him with. And they will even begin to agree with him, says the Spirit of God. Woo! Won't that be a great day when that starts happening? I mean, whoa. And I think it's happening because another one of his prophecies talked about the media's become a stench in his nostrils, and he's going to bring truth back into the media. And that's going to happen soon as everybody starts these bankrupt. The CNN's going to go bankrupt, I believe, and there's going to be all kinds of outed criminals of these double agents in the media, and it's all going to be exposed, and then they're going to leave, and the leadership's going to change, and new media companies are going to start, and truth is going to come back into the media. It's going to be a beautiful thing. So let me pray about that right now. Heavenly Father, thank you so much for bringing truth back into the media. That is going to be such a wonderful day after we're learning about Mockingbird Media and seeing the false lies they get at 4 a.m. every morning, and then it just gets spewed out, and they try to control everybody. Lord, that is such evil. Thank you for revealing this evil to everybody. It's coming out. Thank you for forcing some of these companies to go bankrupt soon. Thank you for allowing new media companies to be brought up that are going to be righteous news organizations that are going to give the public truth, and the propaganda is going to be eliminated. Lord, thank you. It's going to be such a glorious time. We're just looking so forward to see that out of the media. Thank you for giving us a man such a time as this, as Donald Trump. Thank you for giving him the wisdom that you're giving him, Solomon's wisdom, making him going to be the best president that's ever existed. And he's going to go down in history as the best president of the United States ever. Lord, we just pray during this tough time here that people will not only pray for the president, pray for all the candidates that are going to be supporting the president, but also get out and act. Lord, I just pray that we'll all be moved to act. You move on this country to come out in droves, even more so than they did for the election. Lord, I see many people talking about they didn't vote, and they're on the Great Awakening now, and they're saying, I'm not going to make that mistake again. And there's new people coming out to vote that never voted again. Lord, we pray that this is an overwhelming movement that it's going to be allowing the evil, cabal-oriented leaders in the House and Senate to lose control completely. Lord, thank you for this. Thank you for the sealed indictments you've told us in Cueanon. Lord, allow us to understand, give us the great wisdom to understand and the ability to really discern what's true and not true. Lord, if I've said anything that's not true, please help me correct. Thank you for these subscribers, Lord. What a blessing they've been to me. They send me articles. They get me smarter on things. They correct me when I'm wrong. Lord, I pray that we all can just learn together. And in this movement, where we go one, we go all, will be a movement of you, Lord. I believe it is. I believe it is a movement for you, So show your love to everybody. Show your strength in this, Lord. Protect the children that are under sex trafficking now, Lord. Free them. Heal them. You reunite them with their families. Use them in a mighty way for your kingdom, and many of them are thankful to see how you were responsible for freeing them up. Lord, allow us to rip out the evil in all these different organizations and replace it with righteousness, and we're looking so forward to seeing that day. We say these things in the mighty name of Jesus Christ. Amen. All right, guys. Really appreciate you taking time with me on Friday. I usually try to do Friday around 5:30 or 6 so I can wrap up and have my Friday night. But let me just say hi to a few people before I sign off here. Already way long at 1 hour and 14 minutes. Terry and Stewie got new every morning. Tina, C, Eddie, Lisa, Ann, Pablo, Terry, Nancy, Kimberly, Bonnie, Garrett, Linda, Seibel, David, Joanne. How you guys doing? Everybody saying amen, brother. Nice to see you, Lois. Amen. Amen from Arizona, AJ. Nice to see you. Amen, says Aaron. Amen, says Stewie. What was there any word on Bill Smith? No, not yet. People, cleaner. I really love. I've been busy working all day, so but I haven't seen anything. Mississippi here, says Patricia. Thank you, Angela. Go away, Jewish liars. Questions. Be careful there, man. That is God's chosen people, dude. Now, there's evil people in the, obviously, the Mossad, just like there's evil people in the CIA. But there's also good people that in Israel, and there's also good people in America, right? So let's not judge a whole country just for the evil men in it. There's a cabal in every country pretty much right now. We need to actually eliminate it. God bless you, says Mary Rue. Good, nice to see you. Really appreciate you guys. I live in 3 places, Nashville, Hawaii, and Okinawa. All right. I learned from you and appreciate you. Thank you. I really do appreciate you guys. You guys have been so encouraging overall. I do appreciate it. I do appreciate the prayers, though, because it's scary when one of us actually disappear in Bill Smith. That is real scary. Hopefully he's okay and just, I don't know, maybe had a random vacation or whatever and couldn't. But that's scary over 2 weeks. It's one thing when you miss somebody 3 or 4 days, but somebody that's posting 2 or 3 times a day, that's scary. The Trump hammer of God, Stewie says. Thank you for being here and educating us. Thanks, Patricia. See you next time. Have a good weekend, says Kimberly. Jim Nurse, the public's still not ready for the whole truth. I agree with that. All right, guys, I do need to run, but thank you, Shelly, as well, and Sherry, and Aaron, and Laura, and Sue, and Jess. Yeah, find Bill Smith. Hashtag find. Why don't you guys tweet that to me? That'd be awesome. Find Bill Smith with some hashtag find Bill Smith. God bless you guys, and we'll talk to you on Friday. Let me wrap this up here with saying, hey, Carter Page, there were no hearings for the FISA. They were spying on Trump. They didn't even have a hearing, despite that it was extended 3 times. That is Spygate treason confirmed. Yes, it is. We saw SB2 decodes that were just awesome. Go to War Drummer if you want to go see those in more detail. This was QAnon Post for August 31st, Friday. God bless you guys. Talk to you next time.